hundreds of thousands of patrolmen report for duty, armed with a badge and the latest in video technology. You are about to witness their never-before-seen footage, their stories caught on tape. Tonight on Disorderly Conduct, an officer under fire, a man on fire, horror on the highway. A suspect gets a little too close.
Don't ever touch me again.
It's lights out for this driver, and this crook is definitely over his head. It begins as a standard traffic stop in Ohio. An officer pulls over two Montana men in a vehicle with out-of-date license plates.
Afternoon, gentlemen. Just your driver's license, please, sir? And the...
Honest with you, I ain't got it on me right now, sir.
Okay, got any kind of ID with you?
No, sir, I don't.
At this point, all the trooper knows is that the car's registration is outdated and that the occupants do not have any identification. In fact, these men are heavily armed and on their way to a white supremacist rally.
Now, we have two options. Let's sit back here with me a second, sir.
The driver walks back to the squad car, but refuses to get in.
You can sit here in the car while I run the check, and if you sit in my car, I'm going to search your person to make sure you don't have any deadly weapons.
I feel violated.
I'm not violating you, sir. You're going to sit in my car while we run these checks.
Feel violated.
I can arrest you for not having a driver's license, then I can search you, then I can put you in jail. Now, the choice is yours.
One of the options, sir.
Well, those are the options we have, sir.
As the driver gets more and more defensive, the trooper gets more and more suspicious.
You're going in my car. I'm not violating you, sir.
I feel violated.
All of a sudden, the driver makes a run for it, with the officer and his partner right behind. Then the passenger pulls out a gun and shoots out the driver's window. And he comes out firing. Now with the attention on the gunman, the driver jumps back in the car. With a gun to his head, his foot hits the accelerator and he's gone. Amazingly, neither the officer nor the shooters are hit by gunfire, and both suspects manage to escape. But the suspect's luck soon runs out. Within days, both men are captured and charged with attempted murder and possession of stolen weapons. At this gas station in San Antonio, Texas, a video surveillance camera records a 50-year-old man in the back of this pickup truck as he attempts to fill a 5-gallon can with fuel. Gas stations warn customers to place the can directly on the ground. Unless it's grounded, vapors could ignite from static electricity, which is exactly what happens to this guy. The man is on fire. He panics, then throws the filled gas can out of his truck. It explodes into flames. So he jumps out of the truck and runs for it. Immediately, he hits the ground and rolls. But the fire won't go out because his pants are covered in fuel. To make matters worse, his truck is engulfed in flames. It could blow at any moment, and so could the station itself. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Brian Mullen pulls off his shirt and attempts to beat the flames out. Tech Sergeant Ed Jones also joins in the fight. Others try to help extinguish the flames, but it appears to be a battle that no one can win, and the truck continues to burn out of control. In a desperate maneuver, Sergeant Jones scrambles to the pump and rips off the washer fluid bed. He then dumps the liquid onto the man's burning legs. It works, but there are still some lingering flames, so he goes back for a second bid. The flames are out on the man, and now the attention is drawn to his truck, which has turned into a raging inferno. Sergeant Jones and another Good Samaritan pull the man to safety, then clear out. The fire department gets the blaze under control with no further damage. Had it not been for the heroic actions of Sergeant Jones and others, the man might have suffered a lot worse than third-degree burns to his legs. Two suspects hit 100 miles an hour along Mississippi's historic Natchez Trace Parkway. Police say they've already tried to run over a deputy sheriff. And police suspect that's a packet of drugs the passenger tosses out the window. The driver barrels down the wrong side of the highway, forcing other cars off the road and even into oncoming traffic. He swerves to keep the cop from performing a precision immobilization technique, or the pit maneuver, which would spin the car and stop the pursuit. In an attempt to avoid the officers in front of him, he swerves onto the grass, still going nearly 100 miles an hour, and somersaults his car 9 times. Officers rush to the wreckage with guns drawn. One suspect is up and walking, but both men have only minor injuries. The cop takes the dash cam from his cruiser. He records the skid marks and crash scene. Even though these suspects are headed to jail, they're lucky to be alive. Up next, a patrolman's terrifying running gunfight down a country road, and the slick move that ends a high-speed chase. All this and much more on Disorderly Conduct. Alabama police officer John Ingle attempts to pull over a stolen car near Mobile. At first, it looks like the two men inside are going to stop. But suddenly, the driver guns it. Officer Ingle calls for backup, but there's another pursuit across town and no one is available to help. If there's ever a time for backup, it would be now. The passenger opens fire. Officer Ingle shoots back. An unsuspecting motorist almost gets caught in the crossfire. Officer Ingle continues the pursuit. Then the shooter strikes again. Outmanned and possibly outgunned, the officer can only hope that help will be here soon. Then, at the end of this country road, the driver pulls over and the firefight is on again. Until the suspects run out of ammunition.
Show me your hands! Show me your hands, mother...
Other officers finally arrive and help arrest the two men. Despite the fact that dozens of rounds were fired, no one was hit by gunfire. The men are charged with burglary, robbery, and attempted murder of a police officer. As for Officer Ingle, he's been hit by fragments of glass and metal, but fortunately, was not shot. Police pursue 3 men on this Kansas highway, Officers think the suspect stole chemicals to make crystal meth. The suspects are not only dodging the police behind them, but what's ahead of them as well. Some cattle crossing the highway get caught up in the action. Neither the animals or a spike strip used earlier slows these guys down.
Run him off the road! Run him off the road!
Finally, a trooper sends the sedan spinning. That's a perfectly played pit maneuver, where a suspect's car is rammed in an area where no innocent bystanders can be hurt. The suspects are arrested, and all three are charged with possession of a controlled substance.
I got a white vehicle, SUV, full size, just ran through everybody's lawns, crashed the gate, running through yards.
Brevard County, Florida.
Going through the grass.
A sheriff's helicopter spots a white SUV as it tears through a neighborhood.
County's gonna signal for that bus.
Cops are worried this suspect's reckless driving will end in a signal 4, a violent crash.
Oh my God, John.
He's on the run because he's driving with a suspended license.
Pretty bad, signal 12, just crashed the gate, coming right towards you, Ford SUV. It's on the wrong side of the road now, he's gonna hit the cruiser, look out.
Your destination airport.
He's gonna go to the interstate. He's gonna signal 4 over here in a second.
The SUV barrels out onto the main road into traffic.
I got everything.
The suspect slows, and a cruiser tries to box him in.
I doubt he's gonna stop.
Just when they think they have him,
Hey, John, we take this.
he breaks free.
He's trying to run over, he's trying to hit the cruiser.
The driver picks up speed and weaves through traffic.
Hey, Whiskey Roger.
Hey, is there a blue car behind him now?
Sheriff's helicopter just...
Yeah, that's our unmarked behind him.
2 miles from the airport. Start at
Is there a blue car behind him?
maintain 1,000 traffic.
He may dead end up in here.
And 1A Whiskey, thanks for your help.
Police get help when the suspect runs out of road.
He's running through the yard. He's going to end up in the canal here, maybe.
The SUV slams into the canal.
Better send an ambulance. He's upside down in the canal.
Your number 2.
Well, he's coming out the window.
But the suspect is relentless.
Okay, foot chase towards 192 through the neighborhood here. They're right behind him. Officer's going to catch him. Officer's on foot behind him, starting to catch up.
2009.
I hope that officer has him late.
In that case, I do see you. And you can start inbound.
Take it out here. Perfect.
Report 2 mile right base for runway 5. Winds probably 120.
Okay, he's got him on the ground. Anybody can come give him some help.
Finally, the police get their man.
Good job. Excellent job.
The driver faces a laundry list of traffic violations, including aggravated fleeing, driving with a suspended license, and eluding police.
Looks like he's 10-4 Brevard. We won't need an ambulance out here.
Your hair looks like pubic hair.
Not a good way to endear yourself to the officer.
I have the right to remain silent. I don't want to remain silent.
And he certainly keeps the promise not to remain silent.
False arrest! False arrest! False arrest! False arrest! False arrest! False arrest! False arrest!
The suspect was tossed from a bar in Las Vegas, New Mexico, for being drunk and disorderly.
Victim assaulted! Victim assaulted! Victim assaulted!
Now he keeps up his disorderly conduct in the squad car, and he claims he's been assaulted.
I was arrested! I was assaulted! I was arrested! I have no words! I was arrested!
The officer maintains his sense of humor for a while.
Watch me! You arrest me for without reason, you Yes or no? Yes or no?
For a few seconds, the suspect calms down.
What is my charge?
It's just the calm before another verbal storm.
What is my charge? What is my charge? False arrest! False arrest! I was assaulted! I am the victim! False arrest! It's in the name of God, it's a false arrest! In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. This is a false arrest. Do you agree? Do you agree? Do you agree?
Obviously, the officer does not agree.
False arrest. The alarm's going off. False arrest. False arrest. False arrest. False arrest.
He spits at the officer.
False arrest.
That is assault, and the patrolman has had enough.
Come on. Spit on me. False arrest. False arrest. False arrest. I'm the victim. False arrest. False arrest.
He can't spit now with his t-shirt pulled over his head, and it shuts him up too. Back at the station, he's booked for disorderly conduct and assault and battery. Now a judge also gets to see this video.
Watch me. False arrest. Do you agree?
Stay tuned. Disorderly conduct is just getting started. This bumbling burglar is headed for trouble. And a driver learns the hard way. Don't cross the line with the law.
Don't ever touch me again.
It's all straight ahead on Disorderly Conduct. San Antonio, Texas. Two liquored-up lawbreakers decide to break into this convenience store. First with their feet, then with their car. Two cameras record the young men as they risk jail for a couple of $100 worth of cigarettes and lotto tickets. The suspect makes a feeble effort to cover his face. Finally, they leave the same way they came in, head first. But everything is caught on tape, and the suspects are caught a few days later. Glen Heights, Texas. Officers Kevin Howard and Raymond Welch near the end of their night shift. Then they get a call to check out a domestic dispute. But when they pull up to the house, the suspect pulls away in a pickup truck.
I've got a red Chevy pickup truck leaving from this location.
And the chase is on.
He's trying to run. He's feeling ill.
It's the start of a 23-mile marathon through 5 counties. All of them recorded on the officer's dashboard camera. The driver has no intention of pulling over, and he's a menace to everyone on the road. He runs a light.
He ran the light at the frontage road on 35. We're going over the bridge.
He cuts across the grass median, trying to break off the pursuit.
Stop on the shoulder.
But the cops stay on his tail.
Getting on the 35.
Over the median and off the interstate again. He speeds into the oncoming lane, around a dangerous curve, and blows right past a stop sign. Then the suspect pulls off the road and into a parking lot.
Okay, into the parking lot in Joanne's Fabric.
Other units have joined the pursuit, and now they seem to have the suspect boxed in. But just off camera, he backs into a police car. An officer leaps out of his car and draws his gun, taking aim. But the pursuit is on again.
Passenger doesn't look like he's going willingly.
A passenger in the truck decides he's had enough and jumps. He escapes for now and is later dismissed as an innocent bystander in the wrong place at the wrong time. Back on the road, the driver is finally brought to a stop. He puts up a fight behind the wheel, but now he is emotionally exhausted. And very lucky to be alive. Cops suspect he may be under the influence of drugs or alcohol as well.
You know what, dude? You damn near got shot.
The driver pled guilty to a felony charge of evading arrest. And these officers finally got to go home after a long night on the road.
Good way to end the shift.
He's just a dad on a road trip from Michigan to Ohio with his 4 kids and the dog in the van. This female trooper is a little suspicious after seeing him run a stop sign. And in just a few moments, you'll see her judgment is right on the money.
Sir, I'm going to pat you down here, okay? Sure. What do you got up here, sir?
I owe my money to some kids, so I keep track of that.
Sir, you're suspended?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
He's driving on a suspended license. And it turns out he's carrying $2,000 in cash. Concerns about the money seem to set him off.
Okay? What do you have to, hold up. Hey, hey! Don't ever touch me again, okay? I'm not taking your money. You understand that? You touch me again, I'm gonna make you, okay? Don't you move. I'm not taking your money.
He calms down for just a moment.
639.
He grabs her gun hand. She maces him. He flees back to the van where she maces him again. Blinded by mace and unable to drive, he comes back for more. This trooper has had enough and she draws her weapon. Finally, the man collapses near his van's back tire. Other officers arrive. The situation is secured, and the collection of evidence begins.
And he just like totally attacked me right out of the blue.
As the trooper makes a report to her superior officer, the driver's erratic behavior comes into focus.
The gun on him, he was reaching that wheel well.
Yeah, he was reaching in that wheel well. I want you to check that wheel well. Yeah.
Officers find a small bag of crack cocaine jammed in the crevice of the wheel well.
Oh, they found crack. They just found crack. They just told me.
It's an officer's job to notice things that seem out of place. Police believe this man may have suffered a drug-induced breakdown. And now he's facing assault and drug charges. Fortunately, the children are just fine. Next, police tackle a fleeing former NFL star. And a Jeep gets airborne. Catch all the action right here on Disorderly Conduct. Former football star Darryl Lewis leads police on a pursuit east of Los Angeles. One officer goes in for a closer look, but those tinted windows keep the driver's identity a secret. The situation intensifies as the ex-NFL defensive back weaves through traffic. The lead officer tries the pit maneuver, but Lewis escapes the hit. Moments later, a second attempt also fails. At the next intersection, Lewis turns left. And this time, the pit works perfectly. Police are so determined to pin him in that an officer spins his wheels. It looks like it's all over. But Lewis avoids capture yet again. Down the block, it's time for yet another pit maneuver. And another. Lewis seems determined to end the pursuit on his own terms and finally comes to a stop. But this isn't over yet.
Down! Get on your stomach! On your stomach! Now!
The 240-pound athlete refuses to quit. It takes 5 officers to bring the former All-Pro to the pavement.
Take it out!
One officer reports Lewis was the strongest man he ever faced.
Now!
Lewis's family says he has medical problems and failed to take his medication. Medical problems or not, he's charged with driving under the influence and evading police. It's a traffic stop for a suspended driver's license in Canton, Ohio. The trooper's suspicions are raised when the driver moves around in his seat in a suspicious manner and refuses to immediately pull over.
Stop the car!
Unsure what the driver may have been searching for in his vehicle, the trooper is on full alert when the car finally stops.
Stop it and park slowly. Reach, get out of the car. Get out of the car right now. Undo the belt slowly. Get out. Get out! Back here, put your hands on the car. I'm going to shoot you with a taser. Take a step back, spread your feet. Put your hands on the car. Go down to your knees. Do it now. Cross your legs. I didn't say go on your belly. Cross your legs. Put your hands behind your back. Look straight ahead. Don't move. You understand? Keep your hands on your...
The driver ignores the order not to move and reaches toward his waistband. Concerned that the suspect is going for a weapon, the trooper fires his taser gun. The gun fires 2 electrodes that temporarily paralyze the suspect.
If you move, I will shoot you again. You understand? The prongs are still in your back.
At any time, the trooper can shock the suspect again with a 5-second burst of electricity.
Now move, get your hand on the ground, or I'll light you up again.
Troopers later find marijuana and $2,200 in cash inside the vehicle. The driver is charged with possession of drugs and failure to comply with a police officer. This speedster's landed himself in trouble late at night on a Texas highway near San Antonio. But just when it seems he may make a run for it, the driver pulls over to the shoulder. At least this guy stopped. So far, so good.
Your driver's license is with you, and your vehicle's rolling. Hit your brakes. Step on your brakes.
This truck's on a roll, and no matter what the cop does, it backs into his brand new police car because his brakes are completely gone. This is not the best way to get out of a speeding ticket.
Senor, you have an ID card.
And then the patrolman makes another discovery.
You have a driver's license?
Brakes aren't the only thing he doesn't have. He doesn't have a license either. And then there's the little matter that made the cop pull him over in the first place.
Well, Mr. Cruz, the reason you were stopped was for speeding. You were traveling 79 miles an hour at 65 at night. Any reason you're going so fast this evening? You speak English okay? Or do you understand English?
Finally, another cop shows up to help calm this officer.
Roll this truck back into my car.
In reverse?
No, rolled it back. Brakes weren't working.
Brand new car.
Yeah, it sure in the hell was.
Trooper Kyle Albright notices a Jeep driving without headlights and tries to stop it. After that, he discovers it's a stolen vehicle The suspect in the Jeep hits 90 miles an hour and flies through intersections. He tries to make a left turn at full speed. A Jeep's made for off-roading, but even a Jeep can't handle this. Trooper Albright drives into the parking lot to find the Jeep lodged in the bank building. The officer searches to see if the driver's fled, but there's no getting out of this pile of twisted metal. The suspect is imprisoned in the Jeep until help arrives. Of course, he might have avoided all this and slipped away in this stolen Jeep if he just turned on his headlights. Next up on disorderly conduct, a speeding driver goes one-on-one with a light pole. And video proof that there's no safe place on the highway. More disorderly conduct is right around the corner. Cedar Hill, Texas. Police pursue a suspected drunk driver. The good news is that traffic is fairly light. The bad news is that the car is entering town. He barely misses an innocent driver, then slams right into a light pole. The driver comes through with just a few broken bones. But now, in addition to facing drunk driving charges, he has to pay for the light pole. In Mansfield, Louisiana, Sergeant Raymond Charro is en route to answer a domestic disturbance call. The sergeant arrives just in time. A woman with a bat strikes another woman. Not once, but twice before Sergeant Charro can step in to break it up. As the officer tries to hear both sides of the story, things get ugly, as others voice their opinion on what they think happened. When he's heard enough, the sergeant takes the ladies to his car and waits for backup to arrive. While both women face charges of disturbing the peace, the woman who wielded the bat is also looking at aggravated battery. It's a routine traffic stop in Ohio. The driver is polite and cooperative. Good thing the driver obeys the officer, as she writes the ticket in her cruiser. A truck sideswipes the cruiser and the car she stopped, and then flips further down the highway.
I'm not injured. Stand by, I'll find out about the driver.
This cop springs right back into action. The driver of the other car is all right.
Are you okay? We got Lucille back there. He's okay too.
He just complains about a minor injury.
Anything besides your elbow?
Other folks volunteer to help, but she's got everything under control.
Unless you're a paramedic. Okay. I just want you to know if I could help you somehow.
A vehicle full of suspected car thieves leads police through the heart of Hollywood. Not even a spike strip stops the three men. And now they're riding on rims. The slow-speed pursuit continues for an hour as a news cameraman records the action. Then, to everyone's surprise, the car has a new passenger. Only this guy's riding on the outside of the vehicle. A spectator jumps on board and blocks the driver's view with a sweatshirt. A few blocks later, the unwanted rider drops off and quickly disappears. Finally, the car gives out, forcing the suspects to give up. The men are quickly arrested. As for the guy on the windshield, he's never been seen again. Coming up on Disorderly Conduct, a lawnmower man cuts up the cops. And a simple warning saves 2 lives. There's much more Disorderly Conduct straight ahead. It's a bad day to be on the scene of an accident for these Ohio troopers. The roads are slippery, and officers are trying to control traffic at this accident scene in Denton County. Trooper Rowe is talking to a motorist while Folden, in the yellow rain slicker, stands behind the ambulance. The cop by the car casually glances up as the motorist yells. One of the ambulance personnel comes out to see what happened and to check if anyone's been hurt. Fortunately, only the vehicles were damaged. In Longwood, Florida, police are set up with a hidden camera to document an undercover drug bust. 2 suspects, a man and a woman, pull up and negotiate with the undercover officer for crack cocaine. But when the officer shows them the goods, the driver grabs it and takes off. Police in an unmarked truck respond quickly. They are able to get in front of the vehicle and force it back to the scene. Officers surround the car with batons drawn, but the suspects have no intentions of going peacefully. The suspects lead police on a dangerous chase through the city, but it doesn't last for long. The driver loses control and spins out onto an embankment. The man and woman make an effort to get away on foot, but neither gets very far. Both now face charges of aggravated battery on a police officer, purchase of cocaine, and resisting arrest. It's a traffic stop in Dallas, Texas.
Hey, let me get you, come on over here. Let's get off the side of the road, out of the way of that traffic there, so neither one of us get run over. Ma'am.
That's very good advice from the safety-minded trooper.
Ma'am, the reason for your stop today is for your speed. You travel a little bit too fast. Is your address still correct there in Houston?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And there's a passenger in the car.
All right. You can just hold tight for a minute, all right?
Once again, the cop issues his warning about safety.
Let me get you, come on over here, man. If you're up here and anybody hits the back of my patrol car, it's a good chance you're going to get caught somewhere in between that car and your car. And if you're not caught in between, you may still get struck by one of the vehicles. I don't want that to happen to you.
That saves her life.
Just like that, see? Just like that.
The van hits the car so hard it almost rolls before skidding off the road. Thanks to the officer's safety precautions, this woman is completely unharmed. She runs to the wreckage to check on her passenger as the cop calls for help.
Okay, don't move him. Don't move him. Do not move him.
Getting help. You're getting help.
Don't move him, okay?
He's only slightly injured, and help is on its way.
Keep him still, okay?
Be still.
EMS is coming.
Okay.
Don't move.
Okay.
There's a simple lesson here. Always take a trooper's advice.
Hey, dude, let me get you, come on over here. Let's get off the side of the road, out of the way of that traffic there, so neither one of us get run over. Just like that, see? Just like that.
A drunk driver is on the loose, and he hits speeds up to 3 miles an hour. The man at the wheel of this lawnmower has been hitting the bottle, and officers are in slow pursuit. Officers can't believe what they're seeing, but that doesn't mean they've lost their sense of humor.
They'll put the pit maneuver on, spin them around. Don't roll off.
This driver's sense of balance spells trouble, especially without a door to lean against.
What's he leaning for? Look at him leaning all the way over.
It doesn't take a cop to know this guy is about to tip over. Finally, booze and body weight bring the man down. And after a brief search, there's no shortage of intoxicating evidence.
What the? You got to get up. You're going to burn yourself on that concrete. Now, where you live at? Come on, sir.
The lawnmower is impounded, and the man will be booked for driving under the influence.
Cherry Sunday.